Morning, guys. This morning we are gonna learn how to make pitch wicks. It's basically a match that's slid into a piece of wick, and then you dip that wick into some boiling pitch, and it makes a really incredible fire starter. So a couple things I want to talk about with this is, as you can see over here, I have a whole pot full of pitch and it's starting to boil up. I collected this pitch from a pinyon pine tree. I believe it was infected by bark beetles, so I was able to easily collect all this pitch. So what I do is I take these wicks from the lantern and I cut them like so, and you just slide the match in there because these are kind of hollow in the middle. This is a storm match, a windproof match. It's important that you cut this at an angle like this because this little point here will light much easier when you're trying to get this going. So this whole wick here will be soaked in pitch. And I've already kind of prepared a whole bunch of these for this project today. You want to try to avoid using direct flame to heat this because this is pretty flammable stuff. Also, do not do this inside your house. If it does catch on fire, your house will burn down. So that's one really big warning I'll tell you guys about this. Also, you can see this pot is really full. I wouldn't recommend doing this. I went and collected a whole bunch of pitch and this is what I ended up with, but I would not recommend having that full of a pot because if it does spill, the potential for fire is much greater. So as you can see here, I've got some coals that I shoveled out of the fire, and that's what I am heating the pitch on currently. It's important that you guys stay and watch this as it's heating. It can kind of get away from you and really start boiling. If it boils over and it does catch fire, it'd be pretty tough to be able to put it out. So it's important that you have your shovel at hand. Alright, so I'm going to just sit here and wait a couple more minutes, and we want to wait till this pitch is pretty thin, and the hotter it gets, the thinner it gets. If the pitch is too cool, when you dip your fire starter, your wick in there, it really makes for a heavy dip, and it makes the pitch really thick on there, and it almost is too much. It makes it hard to light. So it's important that you kind of are working with a pretty thin thin pitch when you're dipping your pitch wicks. You guys can see that boiling and off-gassing. Pitch has turpentine, which is a natural softener, and it softens the pitch so it can flow through the tree. I believe turpentine boils at a lower temperature than the pitch, so that stuff's kind of boiling off, and what you get is a pitch that's actually pretty brittle when you're done. It's almost like an epoxy. I have some that's dried over here. Let's see if I can show you guys. See how it just kind of breaks off. It's not sticky at all because it doesn't have that turpentine in it. Alright, I have pulled this pitch off. It is pretty warm. I could still warm it up a little bit more because that's a pretty thick dip, but that's not too bad. It's important that you don't actually get the match with this wick or with this pitch, and just get the wick, because if you get that pitch on the match, it doesn't want to light too well. So I think it starves it of oxygen. Over here I just have taken some ash from the fire, and I'm just placing these in the ash when I'm done, and they'll harden up and be ready to go. Alright, so we are done with all of these pitch wicks that I have prepared. As you can see, they are hardening up right now, and I still have a whole bunch of pitch left here boiling away. I've been dipping random things in that. I got pieces of brown paper bag here that are hardening up. You can dip almost anything in this stuff, and it really makes it a good flammable tool for fire starting. You can throw it in your pack and it could definitely save your life. See how well these store matches burn. It really gets that pitch going. And this will sit here and burn for quite a while. At this point you'd be adding more tinder and trying to make sure that you could get your fire going. Pretty much with one of these matches you can get a fire going. It shouldn't take any more than that. I mean, this thing is just burning on its own, and it'll burn on its own for quite a while. Definitely I'm going to be dipping some more stuff in this pitch today. Make sure I get my use out of this. I'll probably actually end up pulling this off the fire in a couple minutes and just let it cool so I can make some more at another date. Alright guys, thanks for coming out and checking out my video. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you guys haven't already done so.